Hello everyone, it's Frank again with a new ATV video. In today's video, we will be making custom floorboards for the Canam. If you've been following all the Canam videos, then you know we put some pretty big tires on it, 33 inches to be exact. And with that came some tire rub, so we trimmed the fenders. However, even after trimming the fenders, we were still getting some tire rub, so I thought maybe I should get some floorboards. Until I saw the price. $455 is quite a bit of money, so I decided to spend $200 in metal and make my own. Started with a crude design on paint, which then became a CAD file. From that CAD file, we more or less figured out how much metal we needed, which is what we ordered. And then once we had the metal, we just started cutting, grinding, welding, bending, pretty much all kinds of metal fabrication stuff. So I'll throw some music on there and let you guys enjoy, and I'll probably catch up somewhere around the middle. You might notice there's a lot of footage missing in this video, and that's because I had a hard drive that failed on me, so there's a lot of stuff I had to kind of gloss over. Sorry about that. I'll try not to have hard drives break on me next time. Also, since we're getting to the welding parts of the video, I just want to say this is my first time welding aluminum, and this was more of a learning project than it was an actual project. None of these welds really had to be too strong, as none of them really are going to hold any weight on them. I just need them to be strong enough to withstand getting kicked and hit by rocks and stuff like that. But they all came out horrible. But I will say my welding in aluminum has gotten much better. This is probably the worst I did. It got much better after this, I promise. So to all you pro welders out there that are screaming at the screen saying this is horrible, please tell me exactly what I did wrong. I would love some constructive criticism, but I did get better. as you can see, welding aluminum without any experience, without any teacher or guidance other than YouTube, is not exactly the easiest thing to do, but it is possible. At the end there, I was getting a little bit better, still not good by any means, but at least the welds were holding and they weren't looking like a bunch of popcorn. Either way, this metal was going to get painted, filled, grinded down, and pretty much prepped to look pretty. So no matter how bad my welds were, they were still going to look alright after all that anyway. And in the end, I was pretty happy with how the left side came out, especially after paint. Something I came up with about halfway through this project is that I noticed I could have also just made this with a metal brake and just kind of bend the metal to the right shape. I didn't think of that at first, I just thought of welding it, which is what I did on the left side. So on the right side, I decided to bend the metal with a cheap metal brake. This is aluminum, so it isn't exactly the hardest metal to bend, or so I thought. I did have to make one straight weld on the right side, but that's only because I didn't have the right amount of metal. If I would have known I was going to bend the metal, I would have just bought one long piece instead of several smaller pieces, because I wouldn't need the smaller pieces. As you can tell, the right side went by a lot smoother, other than the metal bending, which was a little bit harder than I expected it to be, but I think that was a combination of crappy metal brake and user error. But at the end, it ended up working, after finding out that if you heat it up, it makes things a million times easier. I do have to say though, I kind of prefer the welded side, just because the angles are more square. I don't really like the rounded edges as much. In the end, I ended up paying a little bit less than half of what the floorboards would have cost if I would have bought them from like a company such as Lucky 7 or one of those, but I'm kind of happy with how it came out. It probably could have been even cheaper if I would have bought the right amount of metal to begin with. But since it was my first time welding aluminum, I wanted to have a little extra just in case, because I knew I'd probably mess up some pieces, which I pretty much did. These floorboards definitely gave me way more clearance, both in the back and in the front tires, allowing my front tire to turn completely as they did from factory. Probably even better than they did from factory. And in the rear, I now have a little bit more up travel, which should help. Overall, if I were to do this all over again, I probably would do it again, and I would probably just weld both sides just because I like it aesthetically better that way. But if I was going for the easier route, I would bend both sides because that was much easier to do than the actual welding was. That may just be because I had to learn how to weld aluminum in order to do it. If you already know how to weld aluminum, then that would probably be much easier for you and much cheaper than buying them from Lucky 7 or any of the other companies that make them. That's enough talking. This video is long enough as it is. There's a lot of footage to put in, and that's because I lost a lot of footage, so it would have probably been even longer if I wouldn't have lost all of that. As always, if you enjoy this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe, and if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching.